Greetings, opportunists of Crypto Broker Academy. Today I wanted to break down a concept that I think will really drive home the power and the privilege we have as GX brokers in not just being early adopters in the crypto space, but also in the GX platform and creating our own network of brokerages and the momentum that it will create, as it already has proven the concept in many other industry sectors. So if we ask a random person why they are not in crypto, because although you might be and although your friends might be and you might be in some networks that are in crypto, realize the rest of the world is not. Disproportionately, random people are not in the world of crypto, and we have to ask ourselves as well as them why they're not. And when we do, we find out that there's three main reasons, well justified, but let's explore what those reasons are. First, that it's too complicated. As with many things that are new and innovative, it of course comes out as complicated, and slowly over time it becomes simpler. Like many other things that have become well adapted in society, like smartphones and the usage of the internet, which was once deemed, oh, that's too techy for me, has now become mainstream and something that we cannot function without. So definitely, initially, it is complicated. Secondly, difficult to access, that it is something that you can't just go to your bank and say, hey, I want some crypto, which people are now used to having their finances handled by a bank. So that's customary for them. They're like, wait, I don't go to a bank? Wait, how do I navigate my money if it's in a place that I can never go to? And I know that may sound strange to us that are in the crypto space, but think about the everyday person who's lived their entire life going to banks to access their money, and now you're telling them that there's no place that they can go to get any sort of support or get any sort of accounting with an actual person, that they have to manage their entire banking virtually in this thing called blockchain. And it becomes extremely difficult for people to access, especially when you take out things like Coinbase, which are only limited to certain geographic parts of the world. And third, it's intangible, or what Sharpen likes to so eloquently say, ephemeral, which is just a PhD word for intangible, or something that you cannot hold. Understand the nature of the progression of currency. It has started out as extremely tangible, bricks of gold that has turned into fiat, which the paper money, that has turned into cards, which cards are digital, but still you have something tangible with which to transact. When it comes to cryptocurrency, they're like, what? It's cyberspace? Like, where's my money? Well, what can I count when I get lonely at night and I want to count my money? So, those things are very different, very strange for people to grasp and get accustomed to. What's interesting is if you apply a bit of thought and some critical thinking to these three very valid points of it being too complicated, hard to access, and intangible, you realize that there's many other of these categories that have been introduced to society and been very well absorbed and adapted to, such as insurance policies, mutual funds, stocks and bonds, annuities, mortgages, derivatives, and I'm sure the list goes on and on. But these things, when first introduced, were extremely complicated. In fact, they're still complicated, and they are of course difficult to access because it's very well hidden, and there's a certain line of distribution that it goes from the creators of it to the actual individuals, and then they're intangible. None of this is tangible, it's all abstract concepts, but the reason why they've been so well adapted is extremely powerful, because that is exactly what GX has realized, and they're taking that model and applying it to the crypto space. The reason we are very well familiar with these asset classes is because these companies that have built these concepts have applied the distribution of brokers to go out there and sell person to person these concepts and ideas and make them much more relatable, as they come from a human being that can be there to answer and make the complicated easy and simple to understand, make the difficult to access something that you can have a conversation with at your living room, and make something that is intangible, yes, albeit still intangible, but you have an actual person. You have John from this company that has come into your living room. You have a phone number that you can call and a conversation that you can have. And those things made these complex asset classes extremely vibrant in the modern economies. Now, take a look at the world of crypto. It's so applicable to this model of distribution, but yet nothing like that exists in the crypto space. You have those that are brilliant enough to understand it. That's a backhand compliment to you of being brilliant enough to understand, have crypto, transact in that. But the rest of the world, they are standing on the sidelines. They are either unaware or are aware and are not participating because of the complexity of it. As I'm sure there was a period of your life where you heard Bitcoin, where you heard about this cryptocurrency, where you heard about blockchain, but you did not engage with it because you're like, oh, that's way too much, you know? So now that you are part of this world, realize that you could serve as that broker for someone else and make these intangible and difficult to access and very, very complex ideas something that they can relate to, something that they can have a human connection with, and that is going to create a wave of distribution as we've seen in the past, but in the crypto space. And we get to be that, and we get to get rewarded for that. So I think we're creating a shift in society. We're creating a momentous movement of people's education, of people's accessibility. And I'm proud to be a GX broker because I know what we're doing is we are empowering people with the knowledge and usability of the new modern age currency. And we are very handsomely getting rewarded for it. If you guys understand this concept and appreciate it, then you will understand the value of you being a broker and the privilege and the responsibilities that are on your shoulders and the income streams that are open to you. So hopefully you take full advantage of it. And of course, we're here to break down many of these concepts on the very next whiteboard breakdown.